Hello, today I'd like to show a project I've been working on for a while. This is a comprehensive Mania Dan leaderboard and also just a very detailed list. I think this is this is definitely the most detailed Mania Dan list. So you might be wondering and tools in general. So in terms of, for how important DANs are in the Mania community, I'm surprised this hasn't been made yet, but I mean, it was a pretty big undertaking, so that's probably why. But I will go over quite a few things in this video. You can probably tell from the length of this video, it's pretty long. You can go through via the chapters. I should be adding on to the YouTube description. You don't have to watch the entire video. I will go over in depth a lot of the features. I think they all have their own merits, but it's up to you if you want to watch it all. Of course, you can also just explore on the website as well if you want. So at the end of the video as well, I will explain my restriction last August, what happened with that. I will explain things about cheating in the community, why this leaderboard was made, like my thought process behind it. You don't need to read it. I think it's worth reading. It's right here. It should be public when I post this video. It's not required. I'll go in a little bit more detail at the end of the video, but yeah. So to start, let me show you some quick things you can get out of this. So for one, there's a subchart leaderboard, or not subchart leaderboard. There's a subchart accuracy calculator. Again, I'll go over this in a sec. And also on profiles, you can display your Dan clears pretty easily. So these are just made up scores, so I can't watch this, but you can show like, hey, I have this and this. Again, this is not the right image. It wouldn't show like this. It would show like that right there, where the color is based on the average star rating with a little bit of scaling, of course. But so here's a real one, for example, from Logan, and you can watch replays directly. You just clickable links, and yeah. So if you didn't watch the last video, this is the replay viewer. It's pretty much the same. Some slight differences like the subchart. This subchart thing that fades in on segments, on subchart segments, beginning and ending. Also displays what type, the length. I didn't mention this in the last video, but there's also timestamp clickable links right here. It's pretty much the same. You can't change OD because, I mean, I don't know why you would change OD on a Dan chart. It's a Dan clear, it doesn't change, right? Let's see. This lets you go to the original version of this unedited. So we want to run on Zenith Dan is actually cut, and I note that, and I'll show like all the different edit types, or all the, it's pretty much just an edit string that I put. So yeah, like I said, when I say this is a detailed Dan list, I went through a lot of effort to make sure everything is noted. Yeah, so you can quickly jump to replays like that and whatnot. Yeah, I mean those are the three things, I guess. It's just a quick overview. I'd like to thank some people. So Peppy for our email correspondence helped me implement Score V1 pretty much the best as far as I can tell from open source Osamania Score V1 judges. So I'd like to thank him for that. And again, you can watch the last video for how you could use the replay viewer yourself. I'd like to thank Logan for helping me test and giving me a lot of feature ideas. It's very helpful to have someone testing and give feedback on like, hey, this doesn't work here, or hey, this should be like this would be cool like that. That's actually incredibly helpful. And so yeah, I'd like to thank him for that. Also Turks for helping me with a lot of the 6-key Dan credits. As a lot of there's no song list on the source beatmap page, so I had to find a lot of them myself for all the like specific individual songs. So I wanted to thank him, and it helped me out quite a bit. These are the edits I made due to his help. So thank you for that as well. And yeah, so I'm gonna go over a lot of features. Again, you can click through. So to start, this is the landing page. You have the total Dan clears on the site, total DP awarded, which I'll get into later, and then you can join my Discord server to get pinged. I'll show that in a bit. You have drop downs to go to all the DANs quickly right here. Or you can click through here to go to packs. Some details about what the site is. Let's see. You can see the recent submissions. So what submissions were approved, and I think also rejections I've added here as well. So if you want to know without joining my, you can join my server, my Discord server, and you'll get pinged. Right here. You would have to, when you join, you'd have to go here and then you'd ask, yes, I want to get pinged, you know? So keep that in mind. I'm going to go over this in a sec, but leaderboard, which is ranked by DP or Dan points. Again, I'll go over this in a sec. So of course, per split key leaderboards as well. Let me go over the accuracy tool. So this is the accuracy tool. So maybe you've been wondering like, hey, I don't know what accuracy and score I got on a specific subchart in a Dan clear. The thing is, with Dan, currently what people do is they take screenshots and they calculate it. They take screenshots at the end of each subchart. Maybe you don't have that, and so this is what that tool is for. You can quickly drop in a replay file, and it should auto detect. If it doesn't auto detect, you can force it right here with all the Dan packs or the DANs on the website. So keep that in mind. But it should auto detect right here. Why the heck is that not showing? Uh-oh. I don't know what's going on there. What the heck? Oh, I was running something with the server. Never mind. So it should auto detect and it should show all the subcharts. And it'll, again, like I said, it tells you whether or not something's been edited or not. And then you can click here to go to the original link. So some more details. These are the independent accuracies. So if I just played Rinju alone, if you just isolated, I should say, this is what you would have gotten. It displays how much weight, so the judgment, I guess, count in a sense. And then like you're so far, like at the end of the subchart, this is what you had at the end of it. So at the end of the Dan, I got 95.64, which, yeah, I mean, that's what I got. And so, again, you can modify this all. I got a double S on We Want to Run, and that shows the changes. Yep. And yeah, so you can mess around with that. You can get, a theoretical best, Dan clear. Again, I go over limitations in the last video. They can misjudge, and it'll tell you if it does misjudge. Typically, it doesn't. It does do that on like sloppy playing with LNs, so keep that in mind. This is still being, I guess, tweaked right now, but again, as I say, it's pretty much the best we've got at this point. But it'll tell you how much it differs, so keep that in mind. But it should be fairly accurate, like incredibly, like 99.99% accurate. It's only off by 0.01% right here, for example, on Zenith LN. Yeah, so that's this tool. It's very useful. I think you can get a lot of usage out of it. So I forgot to mention on my website, if you don't like the background animation, that thing in the back, you can toggle it off right here with this button. Turn it back on, turn it off. And then I'm about to flashbang you, light mode. Oh my god. So yeah, every page has that if you care. Yes, so let's go. Okay, let's start. So let's show, this is the 7-key Dan pack page. So I have 4-key and 6-key and 8-key as well, but this is the 7-key one. So this will display all the DANs I track on this website here. And again, I'm willing to add more. Like I don't have the 4-key core jack DANs, mostly because I don't know which ones people consider to be the most relevant. I added like for 4-key, for example, I've added Reform, Underjoy LN, Reform Sample, and Osimania Shoegazer. Notice I don't add everything. Again, if you want to play like the 1st through 10th Dan, just play the Reform 1st through 10th. Same thing with these as well. I only add the most notable ones. But yeah, so going back here, so flagship is just the most difficult like this thing right here pretty much. Some extra stats. It doesn't really matter there. How many clears? Again, because this is a new website, there's like no details right now. But as more and more people use it, this will get more and more fleshed out. I mean, most of the value will come from people using this, I think. But that's for later, of course. So there's a Hall of Fame, which is ranked by DP or Dan points. Again, more on that in a sec. So you can see the best clears in that key mode, for example. One day I might add like a per pack top clears, but for now it's across every pack right now in the key mode. I mean, another thing currently, I don't track any of the intro or beginner dans, like 4K Reforms, like 3 intro dans, or 7 Key Jinjin's Q dans, for example. I consider them mostly meant for practice. I would suggest learning how to play a bit better before attempting dans. Like I track, like for example, 0th dan, but I don't track the Q dan or the reform. I have the first dan for reform as well. So I mean, I do have that low, but I'm not going to go to the beginner dans because those are, I don't really consider that part of the main set. Or I would say learn how to play a bit better is all I'm going to say. So let's go over this now. So to go to an actual Dan page, just click on one of these. This is just the Japanese, because I mean Dan, you know, the whole origin with it, it's inherently a Japanese like word, and so this is like 1, 2, this is 0. If you don't know this character here, let me zoom in a bit. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th dan, 8. I mean, you can also hover if you can't read it, but. And then the special icons appear. So this would be gamma, azimuth, zenith, stellium. The same is true for these, and then the same is true for these outdated ones as well. I do that as well here. So for example, eta dan, theta dan, epsilon, etc., etc. So let's go through zenith real quick. So here's the actual dan page that you will notice, and you can also go to any of the other dans in the same pack through this top bar. So let's go through this now. So you can hover over the string graph and you can see on the right here the specific segment and some details like how many notes, rice, length, etc. And the star rating changes with it. So keep that in mind if you're curious about those details. For submission, these are the allowed mods. It's per Dan page, you'll notice this. So keep that in mind. These are the allowed mod. And of course, any combination is fine. You'll notice submit and clear percentage. So, of course, I do not want to, for very low dans, the submit and clear are the same pretty much. I don't really care about your clear if you're your first clear. Sorry, but I don't care about 0 first dan, you know, B ranks. Okay, I'm not going to include absolutely everything, but for very hard ones, of course, I don't want to make it so only stellium clears can submit. I of course want to have it so starting at, for example, in this pack, 7 key gamma, you can start submitting at 95% accuracy. Azimuth a little bit lower, you can start submitting your scores at 93, and you get a link. You don't get any of the Dan clear rewards, which I'll go over, but you do get like a replay link. You get the details on your profile. More on that later. So for Zenith, it'd be a 90% submission. As Stellium, it'd be you just need to pass with HP, aka have at least 0% accuracy. Some more details. Source and mirror links. So when submitting, please make sure you have these set. You can also drop your .osu here to check if it matches already before going for a Dan clear, just to see if it would even allow you to submit. Because whatever that .osu is, it will be pushed into your OSR file, and if that does not match any of my current website hashes, you won't be able to submit. I will allow if you like mess up, like you change like the hit sound set. I don't really care. You won't be able to submit, but you can message me at the .osu and the rest of your submission, and I'll allow it. But again, please to avoid that, check here. You can click here for the source. So for example, this just takes you to the original page. For Reform, I think it takes you to the original Google Drive link for Deity Mythical's Reform pack. And then but I would suggest just clicking Mirror. This is my personal copy of it. It's pretty much the same, just a quick OSR file that you can quickly download. And there you go. You have it right there. Phase 4. And of course it changes per, so this is phase 3. You'll notice here a practice link. So you might be wondering, like, I do give you the original right here, but of course, maybe when you're practicing, you don't have the original. The original isn't going to match, is what I'm going to say, to like what's actually in the DAN. So that's what this is for. You click on this. Give me a moment. And it takes you to a folder with an OC file. You can download this. And then if I enter Bosu, and it gives you perfect one-to-one cuts to practice on. Also a little storyboard, because I mean, why not, you know? Whoops. So yeah, so that's what that is for. So every DAN page has that, every single one, without question, I guess, has this. So you can practice if you're struggling on something, you can do that. And again, you can use my my action tool, and you can say like, I've shown that like when people are using this, they like notice like, hey, my inverse score is really bad compared to all the rest of my LN types. And so you can use that in conjunction and then practice specific skill sets, or practice using this thing right here, and you can just practice the inverse type, the inverse chart. And again, this is one-to-one cuts. Sometimes with DAN packs is that they mess up and they put in the wrong OD, they don't have the same hit objects, etc., etc. This actually is the one-to-one cut from the actual dan.osu file. So, yeah, it's pretty good for practicing, I would say. You can do rates as well. Do whatever you want to the thing. And yeah. So next up, source and mirror link. Oh wait, I already said that. Some submission rules as well. I should probably explain that real quick. Every page will have this first one, but I mean, depending on the DAN pack, the rules can change. Like for example, in the judgement ones, you can pause in between charts. So I just note that there. Again, the full submission details to actually submit on the site are here, but I'll get into that in a sec. These are all the maps. And again, you can, well, I didn't show this, but you can do a little quick simulation here. And yeah. You'll notice the details here change automatically. So you don't have to hover to play this. You can also watch in auto if you want. Okay, moving on. So again, you can play these. You can also play these from here. Jump directly to start. Details update up here, etc., etc. Okay, so now let's. I'm gonna go back to Zenith here because this actually has one clear by Logan. Okay, so to start, let me show you. This is the leaderboard. Of course, this site is new, so there's like nothing here, but currently only Logan's here. This is the first placer, and then the rows. It's very similar to the Oasis site. Some extra things, you can watch the replay link directly here. This is the same thing pretty much. This lets you go to the raw hand cam link, and this lets you go to an optional edited video. So this is Logan's Zenith hand cam, for example. And yeah, okay, your accuracy, and you can hover over this and get the full details, what country you are, your Dan user page. Again, I'll get over that in a sec. Max combo, miscount, etc., etc. So that's what that is. There's also Subchart leaderboards. So maybe you're curious about like what you got on specific stuff. You can, or the leaderboard for that specifically. So here Logan got a 97, and then the watch links here are a little bit more special. They actually isolate the play to just that. Well, this is kind of, so like let's say Derwald, for example. Notice it isolates it, and this is an isolated Derwald play. Again, all the replay stuff from the last video applies here, minus the OD thing I talked about. But yeah, there's also a view counter. I didn't talk about that, but there is a view counter. And yeah. Cool. So yeah, the subchart links are actually a little bit special, and they also appear in your profile. Again, more on that later. And yeah, and a nice little touch, but there are like special embed. Every link has like a special embed, so you can like shove it off or whatever to your friends. So yeah. So even your like replay. Hold on. Like even this like replay right here, this link right here, if I were to go back into here, like, oh, Logan on this thing, so you can show that off pretty easily to players. I guess next would be the clear rewards. So this is just a curve. So DP, let me explain what DP is first before anything. So DP, or Dan points, is just, I explain it right here, but essentially it's how clean you clear a Dan, and it's scaled, so you get 25% just for clearing, and then the rest of it's from accuracy. So high accuracy clears are more valuable than low ones, of course, I would say. A 99 stellium is more impressive than a 96 stellium. They're both very impressive, but one is more impressive than the other, and so this rewards that. The DP cap is different per Dan, and some of them do not actually reward DP. So an example is the outdated ones do not reward it, because I don't want to reward people who just play every single thing that's on the site. I only reward the ones that show up on Dan belts. More on that in a sec, but the ones that are the most like special or recognized, I guess. Not everybody plays the Reform sample. Not everyone plays the Shoegazer Dans even, but I have them here because I want to still, I still want to reward honest history. Like here's Invadey. Oh yeah, thanks to Invadey for submitting this yesterday. But yeah, I have, for example, the Invadey's clear on Reform sample Zeta, and you can watch it. You know, it's history written right here, I guess. You know, what if you were curious about the stamina? How you know, there's a lot you can do here. There's a lot of leaderboards here, I guess. Here's Invadey's. What is this map? Angel Dust play. Oh yeah, the thing about the segment replays is that I dropped the PP count. I just didn't feel like recalculating it. There's no reason to. There's a whole lot of reasons why I didn't do that, but yeah. So that gets dropped here, and the actual full replay that's kept, but yeah. So this is just the graph for just the Zeta clear, or the Angel Dust clear, or play. And so you can see that, your details, your segment percentage. So like just Angel Dust independently, that's what you got. And then the overall percentage. So on Angel Dust, you got, if you just cut Angel Dust, that's this score on this out of 1,000,000. Very hard map. Yeah, I do know that. And yeah, this is what the curve looks like. It's just a flat line because it doesn't reward DP, as I've said. Let me go back to this. So when you have a clear, you show up as a dot. As more people show up, there's gonna be a lot of dots, but we'll see. You also will get banners. More on that on the user page, but essentially you unlock that Dan's banners, which you can style your belts, your Dan belts, and then depending on the Dan pack, you also get a bump to your icon on the Dan belt, so you can show off, hey, I'm Zenith Stellium or whatever. Zenith regular Stellium LN would be and again, I show that right here. So that's what that is, right? And once they turn black, they actually show up like glowing and stuff. Again, a whole lot of stuff that you can do, but yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just checking over what else we need to show. Okay, so yeah, talk about banners. We can move the Stellium, for example. Watch the replay if you care. You can also go back to the page via here. You can also check the mapper. You can also, this is on my website in general, but you can go to different pages depending on your navigation currently. So you can go back to Stellium right here. I didn't show this, but for very, very hard Dan clears, I also allow you to add your own banner. And you can choose to make it visible to anyone to equip or just you. More on that in the user page again. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah. Moving on, let me go over the submit page real quick. Please read through all this. It's very simple rules. There are some exception clauses, but please read that. I have all the most common Oceania languages here, so there's no excuse like, oh, I don't know English or whatever. Please read through this. Otherwise, you probably will get rejected. There is a clause here for clears before, because I don't want to erase honest history, but read through that. This should be the 29th, not the 28th, but yeah. Some examples. Then you can drop your OSR, and it should auto-detect right here. And oh look, here's what that is. It should auto-detect. Again, this is why I said please make sure the OSU file matches, because if it doesn't match, this will not detect. And you'll get a mismatch. So like if I do this, oh no, wait, that's a real clear. Okay, but if I put it in a replay that doesn't match anything, it'll tell you like, hey, you can't submit this. So next up, poop. Yeah. So let me show the submission flow. So once you put in your replay, it should tell everything here. Edit it. So this is your raw hand cam. This is your edited video. Again, I showed those buttons. One of them's for raw. One of them is for an edited optional video. If you don't put it in, it'll just be the raw for both. But yeah. Anything you want me to know, and then you can submit this. Now, of course, I'm not this player, so I can't submit it. But yeah, any replay where you should play as your OC username. Previous usernames are fine as well. When you log in right here, it should tell you like, hey. Well, no, that's, hold on. Oh, I guess it's caching my thing. But when you log in, it should ask for like your identity from OSU. And from with that, I get your previous usernames as well, along with some other stuff like your username, ID, flags, etc. And yeah, so you need to submit as you yourself. So when I submit this, you can join my Discord for when I update. This is just an ID which will show up on the front page right here. It'll show when I actually update the thing, like so you can quickly check if your stuff has been added, or you can join my server. And I get submissions right here, pretty much. Yup. And that's just my view, I guess. Next up, so that's the submission flow. Oh boy, we're at 30 minutes. Some more details on the submit page. For 4-key players, I don't allow some of Thaumiel's 4-key stuff, and I don't allow any of Mystery Language's 4-key reform OSU files to be allowed, or replays to be allowed. Mystery Language, because I think the stamina map is cut, so it's not even complete. And then Thaumiel 7th, 6th, 3rd, and 1st are not allowed due to a variety of reasons. I should post a Reddit post with a little bit more details, but those 4 are not allowed. 7th, 6th, 3rd, 1st. Everything else is allowed, so like Thaumiel Epsilon, you can submit, it's fine. Or DD Mythical Epsilon, it's fine. Again, just use the source that I have linked on the Dan page itself. So I guess now we should go over the user page. So here's the user page. So let me go over this quickly. This is your avatar from OSU. This is your username, and that should get updated even if you change it. OSU profile, link, country flag, banner, which I'll show that in a sec. I keep saying that. Your overall ranking with DP, along with your key mode ones that you've tried, and this is your most DP count one right here. So I've only submitted 4-key on this profile, so there. 1 total clear, 1 total DP, total view count, achievements. Again, this will get populated, so more on Dan belts in a second. It's just a small version of this down here. You can have your favorite Dan maps. Just a little thing you can show off on your profile. Quickly jump to the auto of it. This is the 3rd map and the 8th. Quickly jumps to it. You can also, if you have a clear on something, you can also showcase your play on that subchart. So you can showcase, some extra details here as well. You can, all the buttons are there, etc., etc. 4-key, here's your recent list. Your 10 most recent clears will show up here. Your keys, I guess, or your clears, I should say. So very similar to the graph on the pack page. This lights up whenever you have a clear. It lights up yellow whenever you have an FC, and then dimmed whenever you haven't touched it, no clear. Again, when you start submitting it to another key mode, you'll gain that key mode here. So if you just have who's a player? Invadey, I guess. Here's Invadey's page. He's only submitted on Reform Sample, so he only has a Zeta clear. So yeah, he cleared Zeta, shows up here. All the bells and whistles here. Here's Logan's page. And then you can actually get a little graph here once you have at least 2 clears, so you can see your DP growing. You can jump to the replay link. You can also jump to segment links as well. So as I was talking about with the subchart leaderboards, you can also jump to your to there in the replay. So here's him on Volcanic. And this is just Volcanic. Whereas this is the full Dan clear, the overall one. Right. This is your details, so your judgments per your accuracy overall in just that independent segment. Again, I gotta say that. Cut out the other 3 maps. This is your independent accuracy. This is not your so far accuracy, it's your independent one. So keep that in mind. Independent scoring, independent combo, etc., etc. Again, throughout the website, you should be able to go to the original. Whether or not it's been edited should show up here as well. So I just want to see Logan's future Dominators clear. Or, not clear, but his replay portion. Right. Why is this ending so long? Oh my goodness. I'm yapping so much. Hold on. I should probably go over a little bit more details. Oh, this is Logan's page. Some more details. You can also generate a replay or result thing. Hold on. So you can, share this with your friends. This little display thing here just gives some. You can just show it off, I guess, or you can, like I said, you could just show. You can just share the link itself, right? You can just share this to whatever friend, like so, and there you go. You can show that off very, very easily now. You don't just have to trust screenshots or replay files. That's the main thing behind the site. It's a verified leaderboard, similar to speedrun.com. All right. So the achievement box. So again, this is where that template comes from on your OCME. So when I do this, there you go. Yeah. And as you do more keys, so currently I only have one 4-key clear or submission, so only the 4-key belt shows up, and it's only been generated for 4-key. But if you do a 7-key one, you'll get a 7-key belt. And once you have 2 key modes, you get the combined one. So here on my development server, I have fake scores, and this is what it would look like with me with a theta and you'll cause it clear. 7-key with a stellium reg, stellium ln, and then this is the combined one. If you do 6-key, for example, it would be 4-key, 6-key, and 7-key if you do all 3. If you have at least one submission in all 3. So if you only want to focus on like 2 key modes, just submit to those 2 key modes, and you get the combined one for that. So in theory, you can have 8 icons here: 4-key, 6-key, 7-key, and 8-key. So yeah, you can have 5 total belts for now. Again, I plan to add more stuff in the future, but yeah. And this banner image is based on. So I didn't explain this, but banner images. Whenever you clear a Dan, you get access to that Dan's banners, and so basically you can display that right there. That's a crusty image. I gotta find a higher res of that. For most of them, they should be very high res. That one's just kind of bad. And yeah, you can have that, and you get a little preview to show off what you have with your current stats and whatnot. Again, this is a server, so it's not quite gonna update my actual belt. And again, here's your thing. You can update that. Your templates are also key aware, and I only update the belt images. These things right here for like your me profile. Whenever you get a new icon, or whenever you have a new approved submission, or I just update it every week for everyone who's changed their stuff. If you're impatient, and maybe not a week, maybe it's like every day. I don't know. It depends. If you're impatient, you can generate the actual thing right here. Oh, there you go. And there you go. You can host it yourself and then replace the link in the template and there. Okay. Oops. Let's see. But yeah, I do have. I'll probably add more ways to display like non-DP awarding Dan pack clears on your profile as well in the future. I'll add more stuff down here in the future. But for now, just belts is the only way to display on your profile with the links to your replays. But yeah. Okay, I think we're done now. The only thing I need to go over is this thing. So indeed, last August I was restricted for cheating, and yes, I did cheat. And I go over in detail in this blog post, like what I did. I pretty much rate changed the game slightly downwards, and that, trust me, that adds a lot. I go over in this my reasons for doing it, why I did it. A lot of the things that a lot of the things I was accused on were very delusional or just straight up wrong. And I'm sure you've noticed this with other players, where people get accused for stupid reasons. Like I go over Kryshina, like in his recent situation, for example, or Toro. How people are analyzing plays, and yes, I was cheating, but like nobody was able to accurately like say how I was doing it. And I go over that in here. Like, there's a lot of cases, not just me, but like this player Oct4, where he was also accused at the same time I was for the same reasoning. Like, oh, your graphs look weird. There's another thing with the community. They love to use this hit distribution graph to like catch cheaters, and yeah, it can catch cheaters, but I'm pretty sure most people do not understand all the different ways these things can look. And I go over in pretty detailed, you know, in detail. I go over like how your graphs, how graphs can look like this legitimately, and how you can actually do this right now pretty easily. I go over some details, but like, yeah. Oh, you might know about this player, VM Funk. He wrote a blog post. Yeah, and I go over that, like how, the social interaction layer to it as well. And I also gotta explain, like, I was accused on some of the plays that I did cheat, but also on a lot of the plays I didn't cheat. A lot of my 4-key plays were legitimate, and quite a few of my 7-key ones were as well. But I mean, it doesn't matter to be honest, because like people will see one play and so they think everything is. But I don't really care. Again, that happened in the past. I just want to explain like the main reason I cheated in the first place was to learn programming. Uh, and I go over like, yeah, I've done like like university lectures on this, which is funny. But I really did just do it to learn programming. Again, I regret taking advantage of this community's trust. And this leaderboard, this Dan leaderboard, is a response to that, essentially. This should add credibility to you as a player. If you're a legitimate player, you should be able to pass all the like 8 different checks I do on replay submissions. So that is my thing. Again, I go over in much more detail everything. How there's also, cheat providers, you know, who are getting more and more sophisticated. This is better than nothing. This Dan leaderboard is all I'm going to say. I go over like scores that are cheated, very obviously cheated, but nobody cares, etc., etc. My appeal email, and yeah. So essentially, I want to make this easier for you as a legitimate player to showcase your actual clears, which Dan clears. If you can clear Stellium, then I know for a fact that you can clear other very hard 7-key maps. That's the main idea. It's like I want to make this. I want to standardize a new way player skill can be verified. For how important Dan clears are in this community, this is one way to do it. And so that's essentially why I made this leaderboard. Cheating is very easy it's super easy to do nowadays. And I explain in detail here why I believe that and the evidence I've seen that backs that up. I mean, heck, my case is one proof of it. For how blatant I was, it took way too long for anything to happen to me. For me as a learner, as a programmer, just messing around, it took way too long for anything to happen. And that is ultimately the issue. That is one of the reasons why I kind of started cheating. I just was like, what's the point, But, yeah. So I hope the players, or people in general, will use this to add to your credibility as an honest player. In the future, I plan to release a detailed cheat detection guide. Way more detailed than this. This is just me explaining very simple detection stuff, but there's a lot of methods that I've seen in the community what people use to check for cheaters, and trust me when I say this, I can easily grind back up to top 100 on an alt account and get away undetected pretty easily. Knowing what I know now, like it's not hard to get past detection. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. So my main thing now is I want to make tools to fight back against that. Because trust me when I say this, and I go over this in here, but there are people that are willing to pay a lot of money to make OSU cheats, which is it's stupid. But I mean, yeah, some people care that much about rank, I guess. And so yeah, I do want to apologize for messing with the trust in this community. I'm very sorry about that. I don't ask for forgiveness or anything like that. I just wanted to make it this tool for other players to use to track the progress, I guess is one way to say. Is one way to say that, I guess. And yeah, that is all, I guess, in this video. This video is 45 fucking minutes long. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. And yeah, I mean, that's everything I really want to get off. This is the Dan leaderboard. I hope you use it. Again, me as a cheater, I'm not a current cheater, but as an ex-cheater, like, I know how to detect this stuff. And so this tool, this leaderboard in general, is better than nothing for checking that. You know, and even past just cheating, I hope you just use this to track your progress, you know. It's very good. It's very good for tracking your skill progression. And yeah. Also, on this YouTube channel, I did have 2 cheated plays. I've removed them. Very sorry about that. Everything currently on here is legitimate, including my Geometry Dash ones. You know, they were played on mobile. But yeah, everything on here should be, not should be. I've checked. Everything is legit on here. That is all I want to get off my chest. And yeah, thank you for watching. This video is too long, but I mean, this is a very, like I said, this is like 2 months worth of work here, so I had to explain a lot. Thank you for watching. Bye.